Okay, so today we're kind of shifting gears. It's a little bit of a different video. We're talking all about how you can take better notes while listening to a sermon or listening to a podcast or like a recorded sermon that you're listening to like as a podcast. And yeah, just how being able to take good notes can help us in our Christian walk. And I don't know exactly why I'm recording this whole video from inside the car, but I guess it kind of makes sense because for me, like this is like where I listen to most of it, like sermons, podcasts is while I'm driving. And I'm sure a lot of you are kind of the same way. So I guess it kind of makes sense that we're doing this video in here. But okay, so first kind of question, first thing I want to cover. Do you need to take notes? And like the short answer is no. Like I'm not your mom. I'm not going to make you take notes. Like you can just listen to sermons and maybe you're someone who just is really good at remembering things. You just like soak in information, or maybe you just really don't want to take notes. That's cool. But I think it is still good to know how to take good notes, because the reality is like God speaks to us through speakers, through preachers, and it's good to be able to write those things down to remember later, to go back and reflect on, and or just kind of pull out when we're wrestling with a topic and we're like, man, like I know I heard a sermon on this once. Like, what did they say? It's good to be able to have this information written down, recorded, so you can kind of go back to it later. Okay, so here's my basic advice for taking notes. Don't take lecture notes. And what I mean by that is you don't need to write down everything the preacher is saying or the speaker is saying. Because honestly, that's probably going to be worse for you in the long run. And like, this is just my opinion, but like personally, I don't think that's going to help you a whole lot. And rather what I would say, kind of what my advice is just write down the things that resonate with you. And so this is something I've been trying to work on more myself. And you're trying to write down and record the things that you know that you're going to want to think about more later, or the things that really just stood out to you, the information that might be useful down the road, the things that you feel God may be speaking to you. Those are the things you want to be writing down. You're not preparing for an exam on this topic. You just want to be writing down those things that stand out to you, that you feel God may be speaking to you. So yeah, like try to keep your notes short, so that when you're looking back through your notes, it's just a collection of the things that resonated with you. And maybe there are times where the topic that's being preached on is something you just find so interesting, and you just you want to take lecture notes. Like, that's totally fine. But I think for the most part, it's about taking these short notes just of the things that stood out to you. And so a YouTuber named Ali Abdal made a video about this, and he calls it like a resonance calendar. So I've kind of been using a similar kind of format, and yeah, just this idea of writing down the things that resonate with you. Now feel free to totally disagree with me. This is just my opinion on note-taking, specifically kind of relating to sermons and podcasts, but you can totally disagree with me if you want. But I do think this kind of method of keeping your notes short is especially helpful for people who don't really enjoy taking notes. Okay, so you may be a pen and paper person. That's fine. You're obviously just a little more holy than the rest of us. But I'm going to talk about some good ways to use your phone for taking notes, because it's a super useful device that we always have on us, even at church. Probably already on it at church. So here are my favorite note-taking apps to use on your phone. So first, Apple Notes app. I obviously have to include this because it's a good way to take notes. I've been using it for years. Just a pretty solid notes app that you're gonna have already on your phone. If you're not using an iPhone, then I can't really help you. Next is my favorite one, and so this is an app called Notion, and I like literally organize my entire life on Notion. Like, it's pretty sweet. So this lets me take notes on sermons, podcasts. Like, I have a specific page for that. and I like it because it can keep it all nice and organized. The third one is drafts, and so the thing I like about drafts is you can just take notes really quickly, and so this is kind of what I use it for. It's just like you open up the app and a fresh note is ready for you. And you can go through and you can sort them later. You could copy them into a different app. For me, I copy it into Notion. And the other thing is, like, I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I feel like this is important to mention. If you have an Apple Watch, this Drafts app makes it super easy to record notes when you're driving, and basically you record audio notes that are then transcribed into actual notes. And so if you're someone like me who most of the time when you're listening to sermons or podcasts while you're driving, like, this is super helpful because it lets you actually take some quick notes of what you're listening to while you're driving. Yeah, so for me, my kind of process, I use a combination of Drafts and Notion, because I'm like super type A. I like to have it all nice and organized. So I take quick notes in Drafts, move them over to Notion, and keep them organized. You can do whatever you want. And there's also there's a million other apps out there that you could use. Point is, there are lots of good ways to use your phone to take notes. So yeah, that's the video. I feel like it's kind of a little different than the content I'm usually kind of putting out. But I don't know. I think it's important. I think it's cool. I like note taking. Quick recap. So number one, notes are not necessary, but they can be really helpful in getting more out of sermons and podcasts. Number two, keep your notes short. And then number three, your phone is a great note-taking tool. So yeah, it's a video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are gonna go out and take lots of notes while listening to sermons, or not. I don't know. Do whatever you want. But yeah, hit the little subscribe button for more videos every single week. Drop a comment if you're so inclined, like the video, have a great day, and I'll see you guys hopefully next week.